What if I told you that the cold feet you've been dismissing as just another part of getting older are actually your arteries sending out a distress signal? One that gets louder every single morning you don't answer it? I've been practicing medicine for over 2 decades. I've sat across from hundreds of patients in their 60s and 70s who came to me saying the same thing. I just assumed this was normal. Cold feet, swollen ankles by afternoon, legs that feel heavier than they should after a short walk to the kitchen. They waited, they adjusted. They bought thicker socks and looser shoes and told themselves it wasn't a big deal. Some of them were right, some of them weren't. What I'm going to share with you today costs about $3 at any grocery store in America. It takes less than 5 minutes to prepare, and the research behind it is solid enough that I now recommend it to nearly every patient over 60 who walks through my door with circulation concerns. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you may be the most practical thing you watch all week. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Your feet are cold because your arteries are whispering for help. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. When was the last time your feet felt genuinely warm? Not from thick socks, not from a heating pad, but just naturally, on their own, the way they used to? If you're having trouble remembering, that's not a small thing. That's your body sending you a message it's been trying to get through for a while now. Here's what's actually happening inside your legs that no one takes the time to explain properly. After the age of 60, the inner lining of your blood vessels, a paper-thin layer called the endothelium, begins to lose its ability to produce a compound called nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is essentially your body's built-in signal that tells your arteries to relax, open up, and let blood flow through freely. When production drops, your arteries don't get that signal anymore. They stiffen, they narrow, and blood, especially the warm, oxygen-rich blood your feet and lower legs depend on, starts arriving in smaller and smaller amounts. What you feel on the outside as cold feet is actually your tissues running low on oxygen on the inside. It's not aging. It's not normal. It's a circulation system that's been quietly struggling and finally showing it. What makes this so easy to miss is that it doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in gradually over years. You start wearing thicker socks. You start sitting closer to the heater. You stop walking as far as you used to because your legs tire out faster. And somewhere along the way, you just accept it. You think, well, I'm in my 60s, this is just how it is now. I want you to hear me clearly. It is not just how it is. I've worked with patients in their 70s who restored measurable warmth and sensation to their feet within days. Not by changing everything about their lives, but by giving their arteries one specific thing they had been missing. A compound found in something most people already keep in their kitchen that the body uses directly to rebuild nitric oxide production from the ground up. Do the simple test right now. Place the back of your hand against the top of your foot. If there's a noticeable temperature difference, your circulation is already telling you it needs help. And the good news? The solution isn't a prescription. It isn't a procedure. It's something you can make in under 3 minutes starting tomorrow morning. And what it does to your blood vessels in the first 24 hours will genuinely surprise you. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now, let's move on to point number 2. 2. Swollen ankles are not just water weight. Here's what's really happening. You put your shoes on this morning and something felt off. Maybe the laces didn't tie the same way. Maybe you had to switch to a looser pair without even thinking about it. If that sounds familiar, I need you to understand something right now. That small, easy-to-ignore moment is one of the most important signals your body knows how to send. Most people, and honestly even some physicians in a rush 10-minute appointment, will tell you swollen ankles are just fluid retention. Drink less salt. Put your feet up. You'll be fine. And sometimes that's partially true. But in patients over 60, ankle swelling is almost never just one thing, and treating it like a simple inconvenience is exactly how the real problem gets missed for months, sometimes years. Here's the biology that actually matters. Your legs contain a network of one-way valves inside the veins, tiny flaps that open to let blood move upward towards your heart and then snap shut to keep it from falling back down. When circulation slows down with age, those valves weaken. Blood starts pooling in the lower legs. And when blood sits in one place too long, the pressure builds up and pushes fluid out through the vessel walls and into the surrounding tissue. That's the swelling you're seeing. That's the tightness you're feeling around your ankle by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is not water weight. It is your venous system losing the fight against gravity. And it gets worse every single day you don't address the underlying flow problem. There's a simple check you can do right now that I show every new patient in my office. Press your thumb firmly into the inside of your ankle or the top of your foot and hold it there for about 5 seconds. Then release. If the skin bounces back immediately, that's a good sign. But if it leaves a small indentation, even a slight one, that's called pitting edema, and it tells you that fluid has been accumulating in that tissue long enough to displace it. That's not something to wait on. The most important thing I can tell you is this: swelling and cold feet are not two separate problems. They are two symptoms of the same root cause, blood that isn't moving the way it should through your lower extremities, and when you fix the circulation, both begin to improve together. Which brings me to the part of this video I think you've been waiting for, because the drink I'm about to show you works on both of these problems at the same time, starting from the very first morning you drink it. 3. The $3 ingredient that acts like a natural blood vessel opener. Most people walk right past it at the grocery store without giving it a second thought. It sits in the produce section, usually near the lemons and herbs, costs about $3 and has been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, long before anyone had the technology to understand exactly why it works so well. Now we do, and what modern research has found inside this ordinary root is frankly remarkable. Fresh ginger root combined with tart cherry juice is the combination I want to walk you through today, because what these two ingredients do to your blood vessels when they work together is not a folk remedy. It is a documented physiological response that researchers at several major American universities have spent considerable time trying to fully explain. Here is what is actually happening inside your arteries. Tart cherries, specifically the Montmorency variety available at most grocery stores across the country, are extraordinarily rich in compounds called anthocyanins. These compounds do something very targeted to the inner lining of your arterial walls. They reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that causes your vessels to stiffen and narrow over years, and they signal your endothelial cells, the cells lining every artery in your body, to restore nitric oxide production more efficiently. Nitric oxide, as we discussed, is the compound your arteries need to relax and open up. Tart cherry essentially reminds your vascular system how to do what it was always designed to do. Ginger works through an entirely different and complementary pathway. The active compounds in fresh ginger root, called gingerols, reduce platelet aggregation, which is the tendency of blood cells to cluster together and create that thick, sluggish flow responsible for heavy legs, cold feet, and that persistent afternoon swelling. Think of it this way: tart cherry opens the highway wider and ginger clears the traffic moving through it. Together, they create conditions where blood reaches the lower extremities more freely than it has in years. Preparation is straightforward. Use 8 ounces of 100% pure tart cherry juice, unsweetened, no additives, and add half a teaspoon of freshly grated ginger root. Fresh root carries significantly higher concentrations of active gingerols than powder, so it is worth the extra minute to grate it. Drink this 30 minutes before your first meal of the day when absorption is at its peak and your circulation needs the most support. Most people notice their feet feeling warmer within the first 2 mornings. The afternoon swelling that once arrived like clockwork starts showing up later, then less severely. Then sometimes not at all. But here is something I need to tell you before we go any further, because there is one thing most seniors do every single morning that quietly cancels out nearly everything a drink like this is trying to accomplish. And once you hear it, you will not be able to unknow it. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Why most seniors are accidentally blocking their own circulation every morning. I want you to think about the first 15 minutes after you wake up tomorrow morning. Not what you plan to do, what you actually do out of habit without thinking. Because for the majority of my patients over 60, that quiet window between waking up and starting the day contains at least one, sometimes two or three, habits that are directly working against their circulation, and not in a small way. The first one surprises almost everyone. That cup of coffee you reach for before anything else, before water, before movement, before food, is one of the most common circulation mistakes I see in older adults. Caffeine on an empty stomach causes an immediate spike in cortisol and triggers temporary vasoconstriction, meaning your blood vessels actually tighten in the first 30 to 40 minutes after that first sip. For a younger person with flexible arteries, the body recovers quickly. For someone over 60 whose vessels are already working harder than they should, that morning constriction can set the tone for how sluggishly blood moves through your legs for the next several hours. The fix is not to give up coffee. It is simply to drink 8 ounces of water first, wait 20 minutes, then have your circulation drink and let coffee follow after breakfast. That one shift changes the entire vascular environment your body wakes up into. The second habit is one nobody talks about in a doctor's office. If you use an antibacterial mouthwash first thing in the morning, the kind that kills all bacteria in your mouth, you are eliminating the very microorganisms your body depends on to convert dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. Research from the University of Exeter confirmed that antibacterial mouthwash can reduce nitric oxide availability by up to 25% within hours of use. That means every circulation-supporting drink you consume after using it is working at a significant disadvantage before it even reaches your bloodstream. Switching to a non-antibacterial rinse or simply brushing without mouthwash in the morning is a change that costs nothing and quietly amplifies everything else you are doing for your circulation. The third habit is the most physically damaging and the most invisible. Sitting still for the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking, on the edge of the bed, in a chair at the kitchen table, allows blood to pool in the lower legs during the exact window when your cardiovascular system is transitioning from its overnight resting state. 5 minutes of gentle movement before you sit down for breakfast is enough to activate the muscle pump in your calves, which is the primary mechanism your body uses to push venous blood back up toward the heart. None of these changes require a prescription. None of them cost anything. But stacked together, they create a morning environment where your circulation drink can actually do what it is designed to do, instead of fighting against 3 invisible obstacles before the day has even started. And speaking of what your body is fighting against, there is one more hidden factor slowing your blood down that has nothing to do with your habits and everything to do with something most seniors are simply not getting enough of every single day. Important warning. Before we go further, I need to be honest with you about something most doctors won't say in a 7-minute appointment because there simply isn't time, and because it's easier to hand someone a pamphlet than to have a real conversation. Everything I've shared with you today can genuinely help your circulation. But if your ankle swelling appears suddenly on only one side of your body, if one leg feels warmer or more tender than the other, or if you experience unexplained shortness of breath alongside leg discomfort, stop. Do not wait. Those are not circulation symptoms. Those are potential warning signs of a deep vein thrombosis, and that requires immediate medical attention, not a kitchen remedy. Similarly, if you are currently taking blood thinners like warfarin or Eliquis, please speak with your physician before adding tart cherry or ginger to your daily routine, as both have mild blood-thinning properties that can interact with your medication. These drinks are powerful, but they work best as support, not as a substitute for professional care when your body is telling you something urgent. 5. The forgotten electrolyte that thickens your blood and slows everything down. There is something happening inside the bodies of most Americans over 60 that is so quiet, so gradual, and so easy to rationalize away that it rarely gets addressed until it has already been making things significantly worse for years. It has nothing to do with diet choices or exercise habits. It is not a disease. It is not even something most people would think to mention to their doctor. And yet it is one of the most direct contributors to sluggish leg circulation, persistent ankle swelling, and that relentless heaviness in the lower body that so many seniors have simply learned to live with: chronic low-grade dehydration combined with potassium and magnesium deficiency. That is what I'm talking about. Here is the part that catches most people off guard. After 60, the body's thirst mechanism becomes measurably less sensitive. You can be running at 65% of your optimal hydration level and feel completely normal. No dry mouth, no headache, no obvious signal that anything is wrong. But your blood absolutely knows the difference. When the body is underhydrated, blood viscosity increases. It becomes thicker, stickier, and harder to push through the narrower vessels of your lower extremities. The heart works harder. The flow slows down. And the legs and feet, already the furthest point from the pump, are the first place you feel the consequences. Potassium and magnesium compound this problem in a very specific way. Both minerals are directly responsible for maintaining the tone and flexibility of smooth muscle tissue inside your arterial walls. When levels drop, and they drop quietly in most older adults, particularly those on diuretics or eating a heavily processed diet, the small blood vessels in your legs lose their ability to dilate properly in response to increased demand. You walk across the room and your legs feel heavier than the effort should justify. That is not weakness. That is vascular muscle that has lost the minerals it needs to respond correctly. The practical solution is straightforward. Start every morning with 12 ounces of water before anything else enters your system. Add a small pinch of high-quality sea salt and a squeeze of fresh lemon. This combination supports electrolyte absorption at the cellular level far more effectively than plain water alone. Throughout the day, prioritize potassium-rich foods that are already familiar and accessible. Half an avocado at lunch, a medium sweet potato at dinner, a banana as an afternoon snack. For magnesium, a small handful of pumpkin seeds or a serving of dark leafy greens covers a significant portion of your daily requirement without any supplementation. The difference this makes to circulation is not subtle. When your blood is properly hydrated and your vessels have the minerals they need to function, every other thing you are doing, the ginger, the tart cherry, the morning movement, becomes dramatically more effective. You are no longer working against your own biology. And now that your body has everything it needs to actually receive what comes next, let me show you exactly how to pull all of this together into one simple daily routine that takes less than 10 minutes from start to finish. 6. The 7-day circulation reset. How to stack these drinks for maximum effect. Everything we have covered so far. The science behind cold feet, the truth about ankle swelling, the $3 ingredient, the morning habits quietly working against you, the electrolytes your blood has been missing. None of it matters unless you actually do something with it. And that is exactly what I want to help you with right now. Not a complicated program, not a long list of things to buy or remember. Just a simple, honest 7-day framework that takes your body from where it is today to somewhere noticeably better, and does it in a way you can sustain without thinking too hard about it. Here is how the stacking works and why the order matters more than most people realize. The moment you wake up, before coffee, before your phone, before anything else, drink 12 ounces of water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of fresh lemon. This rehydrates your blood after 7 or 8 hours without fluids and creates the optimal viscosity for everything that follows. Think of it as priming the system before you ask it to work. 20 minutes later, prepare your circulation drink. 8 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice, half a teaspoon of freshly grated ginger root, and if you want to amplify the anti-inflammatory effect, add a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric and a small pinch of black pepper. The pepper increases curcumin absorption by nearly 2,000% and costs almost nothing to add. Drink this before your first meal, standing up, after 5 minutes of light movement around your home. That is your morning stack. It takes 11 minutes from start to finish, including the walk. In the early evening, around 5 or 6 o'clock, when circulation naturally reaches its lowest point of the day, drink a warm cup of hibiscus tea with a half teaspoon of raw honey. Hibiscus has been shown in multiple peer-reviewed studies to improve peripheral blood flow and gently support healthy blood pressure, and the warmth of the drink provides immediate vasodilation that gives your legs noticeable relief during the hours when swelling tends to peak. For the first 3 days, expect subtle changes. feet that feel marginally warmer in the morning, shoes that feel slightly less tight by afternoon, sleep that comes a little more easily because your legs are not as restless. By day 5, those changes become less subtle. And by day 7, the patients I have walked through this protocol consistently report one thing above everything else. They feel like they are moving through the day instead of pushing through it. Consistency is the only thing standing between where your circulation is today and where it could be 1 week from now. Your body already knows how to heal. It simply needs the right conditions, delivered in the right order at the right time, to remember how. Final takeaway. Your legs are still trying to carry you. Give them a reason to keep going. After everything we've covered today, I want to leave you with one thought that I believe matters more than any single drink or morning habit we discussed. The body you are living in right now is not failing you. It is adapting constantly, quietly, with whatever resources you give it. The cold feet, the swelling, the heaviness, those are not signs of a body giving up. They are signs of a body that has been working harder than it should for longer than it needed to, without the specific support it was asking for. Here is the honest reality. 1 year from now, your circulation will either be measurably better or measurably worse than it is today. There is very little middle ground after 60. The small choices, what you drink in the morning, how you move in the first hour of the day, whether you pay attention to what your body is telling you, compound in one direction or the other with remarkable consistency. You watched this entire video. That already tells me something about you. Now take one thing from today and do it tomorrow morning. Just one. Your legs have been carrying you your whole life. It's a reasonable thing to carry them back. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.